now, fellow Kotanas, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Cropivian. Today, I am reviewing seasons 1 through 5 of Supernatural. Now, this whole entire season I call the Apocalypse Saga. The reason why I call it the Apocalypse Saga is because it is one continuous story from season 1 to season 5. After season 5, it changes story and tone just a little bit. So let's get started right off the bat with season 1. This season was probably the best season 1 that a show has ever had. I mean, you really get introduced to not only the history of Sam and Dean and what pushes them to become hunters, but you also learn a lot about Sam and Dean themselves, who they are, the type of people they are. And while they, for the most part, are surrounded with the job, at least Dean is when we first meet him, this whole season was one of those things that you just kind of had to sit back and enjoy week to week, because each week was a different monster movie each week. I mean, you had the pilot with the woman in white, and then eventually you get demons in the mix. You get a whole bunch of other stuff like cursed objects. A great introduction to what Supernatural is going to lay out for the seasons to come, and it serves its purpose as that season very well. And honestly, I've already went over my 10 favorite episodes from season 1, so I'm not going to go too in depth as to my favorite seasons or my favorite episodes from this season, but I will have to say that the first time that we meet a demon in this show, which is Phantom Traveler, it's kind of interesting, because it's interesting to see from season 1 to season 5, it's a very quick evolution for the smoke of the demons and everything. It looks very particle and stuff like that in Phantom Traveler, and then eventually it looks more of a full-bodied black smoke. I mean, they perfect it really quick. To see the brothers be brothers every once in a while, like in Hell House or Route 66, there's a few times where they, especially when Dean talks about the killer truck and Sam goes, and I miss conversations that don't start with this and this killer truck. It's a very awesome season to get it all started, and to also have Jeffrey Dean Morgan as their father, John Winchester. You couldn't have asked for a better situation. Now, of course, this series was created by Eric Kripke. Another thing here is I want to talk about just the introduction of the demons being the main villains throughout seasons 1 through 5, because, like I said earlier, there's a tone shift after season 5 where demons are not as up in front. Seasons 1 through 5, the demons are always the ones pushing the envelope of evil, pretty much. I mean, they have a lot of help eventually, but season 2, after a big crash in our season finale of season 1, there is a definite tone shift in season 2, because, of course, very first episode, John Winchester makes a deal to save Dean, and from that point on, Dean is thrown into this whirlpool of confusion, anger, and all around just not being able to deal with John's death and not talking to Sam, and it eventually boils down to the Crossroad Blues episode where things finally come to the surface for Dean. But it extends even further when we get to All Hell Breaks Loose Part 1 at the end, where Sam gets stabbed in the back by one Jake Talley, when all of the psychics and all the kids, the special kids, as Azazel called them, would, of course, be rounded up in this town. Now, of course, at this point, they've caught on something's going on, but they don't know the bigger picture. At this point, the bigger picture idea is not even in the fold of things. they just want revenge on the thing that killed both their mom, Mary, and their dad, John Winchester. So at this point, of course, Dean eventually, after the episode of Croatoan, finally tells Sam that he'd either have to save him or Dad told him that he'd have to kill Sam if he couldn't save him. And Born Under a Bad Sign comes along, and we get to see a little bit of evil Sam, but of course it's Meg possessing him thanks to a sigil that she has marked onto Sam's skin to basically keep her locked inside. And finally, of course, Bobby, who we are introduced to in season 1, Bobby comes in, makes the save there, and Dean basically tells Sam that, you know, this whole push and pull of Dean either trying to save Sam and keep Sam safe or fighting the need to kill him, especially during the episode of Croatoan, is just such a great push between the brothers. And Jensen and Jared always played off each other well since the very beginning of season 1. And this season just elevated that relationship even further, and you see that not only are they brothers on screen, but they really are becoming brothers behind the scenes, and everything that they are going throughout season 2 to get to All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2, where the final face-off with Azazel comes. This show knew how to do season finales the best. I've never seen a series do season finales better than Supernatural. This season knew how to do them, and when All Hell Breaks Loose Part 2 comes up and that Hell's Gate breaks open thanks to the cult, and then they finally get revenge on Azazel, is such a great payoff to the first 2 seasons. After Dean makes a deal with the Crossroads Demon to bring Sam back from Jake Talley stabbing him in the back, Sam eventually figures out really quick, one of the few times where Sam figures it out like that, hey, I was dead. What happened here, Dean? That would, of course, bring our push to season 3. This season was interesting for the fact that it brought in Bella at Bad Day at Black Rock, a hilarious episode. Gordon Walker's push to kill Sam is at an all-time high, and he's just wanting to end Sam after figuring out that Sam is basically infected with demon blood and is, in his eyes, not entirely human. This was a great season, especially since it really shows how close Sam and Dean are, with Dean making the demon deal and only having a year to live. He's got a one-way ticket straight down, and it's going to be a hard fight to try and get Dean to want to save himself. Sam tries and tries and tries, but Dean just doesn't seem to want to be saved, and he keeps saying over and over, I'm just done, Sam. I'm done fighting. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm ready to go. Well, of course, he's clearly not ready, because after a whole lot goes down and Lilith is in the fold in this season after a big, big fight with a bunch of demons and a herd of demons in a police station. Very Night of the Living Dead. I've already talked about that episode in my season 3 rankings. A great episode. Justin Bell was such a terrific episode. We also get Ruby, who's at this point played by the great Katie Cassidy, and this demon and this actress were the perfect mixture to bring Ruby into the fold of Supernatural. It was such an interesting intro because we had never seen the demons get killed before, aside from the cult. Now there's apparently a knife that can also gank demons. Well, leave it up to Ruby to play Supergirl and save the damsel in distress, Sam, from 3 of the 7 deadly sins in episode 1. This season, all in all, it was even with Dean dying at the end of the episode and going to hell, this season was monumental in what it brought to the supernatural lore and supernatural fandom as well. There was a lot of awesome moments, a lot of tough moments, and you just wanted to kick Dean in the ass and say, get your head out your ass, save yourself, fight. But he finally does when it's too little too late. Hard season finale, but a worth it season nonetheless. Come to season 4, where we learn about the bigger picture. We would learn that angels exist in the world of supernatural, and that they are, as we go through the season, they're basically dicks. Castiel, Misha Collins, he's a great actor, and he played a great character. And everything about Cass was always very important, and not only the story of Dean, but to Sam as well, because early on, of course, Cass is very much of the knowing that Sam is Lucifer's vessel. He is the thing that is gonna one day be ridden by Lucifer. At first, he's just wanting to play it very calm and cool and toe the line, like he has done for many, many centuries before. Well, Dean, that's a tweak in Cass's story right there, because Dean, fresh out of hell and getting to unvirginize himself, especially during Oktoberfest, this season, this was the point where you were like, you wanted to just grab Sam and tell him, Ruby, at this point played by Genevieve Padalecki. Of course, she wasn't Padalecki back then. Not yet, anyway. But to see a different actor playing Ruby and almost play her exactly like Katie Cassie did, but with her own twist and tweak, because, of course, Ruby did go to hell again, and then Lilith told her, you get to go back up, and, I've always questioned whether or not Ruby actually was trying to help Sam and Dean in season 3, and then after she went to hell, she was set straight, and, then she had the plan to be the one to free Lucifer from hell. But at the same time, I think that it was always the plan for her to get under Sam's skin and get inside him, or the other way around. Sam making the decisions that he makes is just, it's kind of gut-wrenching, because the revenge push and the anger is just amplified by the demon blood that he's intaking, no thanks to Ruby. And it's just such an incredible push and pull for Dean to try and talk sense into Sam, but Sam at this point is pretty much too far gone. And of course, that season finale with Lucifer rising at the end of it, and Lilith gone and being the final seal, such a lot of interesting twists and turns in season 4 that just make it that much better. Let's get into season 5, shall we? The finale in the Apocalypse Saga. One way or another, this season marked an end to the Apocalypse Saga for now. This one, to have Lucifer finally in the fold, and Mark Pellegrino, who plays Lucifer eventually. At first, he's playing just Nick, who has lost his wife and kid, who we later learn more about in a later season. This season, it was, all in all, how the story had gone through seasons 1 through 4 at this point. You don't really know what to expect at this point. You don't know how it's all going to play out. Sam, of course, he feels the guilt. he feels the heaviness and the weight that he is the one that released Lucifer. Now he's trying to come to terms with, how do I deal with this moving forward? Well, he has to go away from Dean, and with everything happening, the world coming to an end, and people dying all around them in the hundreds of thousands, because at this point, Cass has made the choice to rebel and help Dean in season 4. And at this point, he is pretty much cut off from heaven. He still has his powers, but he's pretty much cut off from heaven. Season 5 would go through so many twists and turns, and you lose so many amazing characters, such as Joe and Ellen, for instance, in one of the most hair-raising episodes that Supernatural would ever put out there. I mean, that was just to see all those Reapers around, and to know that the devil's in town, and then you learn that he's gonna raise Death, the Angel of Death himself. Such a hair-raising episode, and when you first see it, you wonder if the cult could actually kill Lucifer. Well, things don't, of course, go as planned, but when a plan does come together for Sam to say yes to Lucifer and throw himself in the cage with Lucifer attached, that season finale, man, again, you want to talk about it, hair-raising, goosebumps, just amazing season finale. And had it been the series finale, I wouldn't have been too mad at it, but as I've talked about, it just didn't feel right. But nonetheless, season 5, being a season that really felt like it could have been it. It could have been the end of the road for the Supernatural story. It was through everything, through even having Dean, or Zacharias sending Dean 5 years into the future to see that the Croatoan virus has taken over the world, and Sam had said yes to Lucifer, and the angels had pretty much vamoosed out of the realm of Earth, essentially, and have gone about their own business in the universe. That episode really spoke loudly for what that season was, and just the direness of the situation that Sam, Dean, Bobby, Cass, and the rest of the hunters and the world were in at that point. All in all, I'd have to say that season 1 through 5, the Apocalypse Saga as I call it, all in all, I'd have to say that it told a complete story for those 5 seasons, and had it been all that we got from Supernatural, I think it still would have lived on long after it was done. But at the same time, I think that there was so much more to tell, and clearly there was so much more to tell. It was such a perfect story told, and so well told, and so much heart and emotion, and the relationship between Sam and Dean, and Jared and Jensen, Joe and Ellen coming into the fold in season 2, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as John, to see Mary come back in the episode of Home in season 1. Everything was laid out so well and so perfectly that it all made literary sense, and was just a beautiful story told by everyone involved, from the production team to the extras to the cast themselves to even the fans, who would of course gravitate towards this kind of storytelling. These 5 seasons, 4.5 out of 5, if not 6 out of 5. Just great storytelling and amazing characters played by amazing actors. For that hour that you were sitting down, you are watching some of the most awesome horror TV that had ever been on TV in the longest time. That's going to end my review of seasons 1 through 5, the Apocalypse Saga. I thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave a thumb on that like button. If you want to subscribe, be really cool of you. If you want to leave a comment down below on your thoughts on seasons 1 through 5, go ahead, leave them down below. I always love hearing from you guys. And always remember to imagine your dream, create your happiness, and live your life on the edge. And I will see you in that next episode. See ya.